Welcome everybody to the Reality Not podcast with nothing new under the sun. We got Brian Clancy. How you doing today, Brian?
Hey, I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. We want to take a different angle and look at different things from how our Black community is impacted, or just the people's communities in general, as far as finances, and just go through a bunch of things because I know that it's hard for people, and I know it's very difficult for me, even with having a career, to be able to manage these things. So if you want to just jump right into it, one thing I wanted to ask of you, Brian, is how do you feel about financial literacy, and what ways do you think that, I mean, this is a loaded question, but in what ways do you feel like you manage it well, and you manage it with your family and things of that nature?
Well, man, like you said, it's a loaded question, and I had to learn a lot on my own because what I was taught about the people around me didn't seem like, man, like, again, growing up in Muskegon, Michigan, I thought it was just some one-offs or whatnot, but I didn't realize how systemic it is in my community and how we don't really understand how money works.
Mm-hmm.
And how we struggle, and how that puts a lot of stress and strain on families,
Mm-hmm.
and how that goes into the drug use and the liquor drinking, because it's like, shoot, what I got to live for, all the money I make is going in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say understanding, like I had to understand my finances, because I was like, yo, this can't be life. I can't be like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, for the rest of your life. And not to interrupt you, one thing I did, like I was talking to my mom about this, maybe about, it was like last year or the year before, and and like my mortgage, I mean, not to get too deep in the weeds, but my mortgage is around like $2,400 a month, and and I wasn't working at the time, and she was like, oh well, I can help you out on your mortgage. I was like, nah, this is 24, like you don't have
this is a different type of mortgage.
But then
the way my mortgage is set up.
Bro, listen, and then getting even deeper within that conversation, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, well, how much are you paying for your mortgage? Which she shouldn't have, but like it's a psychological thing, and I'll get deeper into that as far as refinancing when you don't need to. But her mortgage is like $400 a month. And I'm talking to her more and more, and I'm like, wait a minute, but how much do you owe? And she was like, well, I owe $1,800. And I'm like, that's my mortgage, plus some. So I'm like, well, let's get that paid off, but at the same, I mean, bro, we stayed across the alley from each other, pretty much our whole lives, like growing up. And it's crazy to think that she still wanted to have a mortgage. She's just used to paying somebody for something, outside of taxes and stuff like that. She's just used to paying somebody overall to, she's just used to making that payment versus just saying, okay, let me pay this off. I don't owe nobody. Now I got my own money. Or you're paying interest on top of that $1,800 or whatever that you had left over. And I'm like, no,
and you could have just went ahead and killed it. Mm-hmm. And but again, when you look at the history and how it's set up, it's set up for us to be like, we worry about today and tomorrow, we'll get to it when we can. And I understand that concept because a lot of people weren't around for a while. So I'm barely making it now. How am I supposed to plan for tomorrow? And we were talking a little earlier about a budget or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a solid budget. What people may call this. Well, I just actually built a solid budget because I've been out of work since, like I said, October of last year. But
and the money burns quick too. You be thinking like, oh, I ain't spending no money, and I ain't spending no money. But shoot,
yeah, but it's all the money you already spent, right? So like I got a mortgage too. My mortgage note is around $2,000. But when you throw the HOA fees and all this other stuff in there, you get that extra little oomph in there. And like I got more than one home, so like,
and you got businesses and stuff running in from over here. You got people that's like that you're paying to, as far as like it's exhausting. I mean, when I bought my house, it was totally renovated. Nothing had to be done. and had a flooding in it last year. And within that flooding, the plumbing on the outside is not covered by home insurance. So I had to bust down $9,000. So I was like, okay, well, let me, pay it off, as I can. But, I gotta, I'm down to like maybe 6,000 that I owe. But they had a thing, like it's like a promotion that that they were running. And within that promotion is, you're not paying any interest all the way until, the date that, and then after that, all of the
compounded. Yeah. So break that down.
I literally
break that down for the people.
They talk about 20. Oh, go ahead. But they talk about $2,100 that I would have to pay if I don't pay it by December. It's $6,000.
And so what people don't understand when they like, I do interest only a lot because that's basically borrowing free money, right? But when it accrued, the interest that accrued during the time of and you talking most of the time credit cards are between 18 and 24%. And when I say credit cards, they might give you a loan and issue it as a credit card so they can have a higher interest, right? And it's between, most of the time, like I said, you might get a credit card at 12% every once in a while, but right now the race is it's usually really between 22 and
I would say 22 and
30%. Yeah, but I keep getting it mixed up because I got some old credit cards, so like some of those stuff is at 12. Not thinking about it, but when you buy that and when you buy something on that interest only time period, if you don't pay it off, they slap you with the rest of that the whole interest of the time that you've had the loan all at once. So you don't get the benefit. So now when it was interest only for 6 months, right? Now you got the benefit. I mean, now you lose that benefit plus you deeper in the hole. And now that 18-20%. I'm sorry, let's just say 24%, because 24% is 2% a month, right? Because that's usually an APR. So again, understanding that and understanding what that means to people, like I used to talk about child support because I had to pay child support at one point in time. And when I was like, yo, this is bananas, because they was charging 3%. I'm sorry, they was charging prime plus 1%. For interest on child support. But if you don't pay enough to pay the interest off, your balance increases on top of what it increases anyway, right? So I was like, yo, this is a double whammy. Like, y'all charging interest on the stuff, and then I'm like, yo, you'll never get it paid off if you don't get ahead of it. And again, starting with just knowing your budget and knowing what you can afford to spend, and then like limited interest. Like you said, I pay no interest on anything, and then I try to pay off everything that I have interest on. Of course, I got a 3% interest rate on my house, but that's good. And what you would call that a good interest rate, because you break that down in a
that's
year.
Great.
Yeah. You break that down in a year.
You got yours at the right time. I got down to 2.25. And mind you, what we're talking about is like when you're buying a home, and I always tell people this, like, don't rush into buying homes because of you're paying all the interest up front once. Unless you get like a great rate, it really doesn't benefit you. And like I said, when I bought my home strictly with, it was all renovated and stuff like that. So I didn't really have to even do much. So even when I had the flooding, I'm still quote unquote in debt of that. Now I'll pay it. I'm gonna pay it off. But I mean, I was doing all of these numbers earlier today. I'm like, well, shoot, I got to bust down $1,000 a month from May until December to make sure I don't pay $2,100 extra. So just understanding and having a budget, understanding what you would have to pay off. Because I mean, I told you I wasn't working from December to January or December to February. That's only 2 months. And within that 2 months, it's like, well, shoot, now I got to play catch up on mortgage. So now I'm doubling up on mortgage because now I'm paying all of the other. And that's funny. You had mentioned the credit card thing. One thing I've learned to do, I mean, it may not be the best practice, but it is a practice, is like utilize balance transfers. That if you have, say, for instance, if your interest rate is going to be 22 to 30%, transfer it. If you have that availability within the credit card, or if you can apply for a credit card, apply for a credit card that gives you 0% balance transfers, which will essentially be they'll charge you a fee of 3%. And I would rather pay 3% than the 22 to 30 that you're going to get hit with, if you don't pay that balance.
But break that down though, Shante, because a lot of people don't understand that. I want you to really break it down, because what you're doing is you're trading one interest rate for the other, right?
Yep.
And you trade, and the net positive, like you said, is 20. What was it? 20.
Just say it's 20. I mean.
So then you saving 17%. You're saving 17%. And 17% interest is a lot of money, depending
17% per month. So just imagine, so I'll do it from a math perspective, right? Say for instance you owe, and I'm gonna say it on the low end. Say for instance you owe $1,000, right? You owe $1,000, and you're getting charged 20% interest, right? 20% interest on that is $200, right? So if you are able, and then you get more time to pay it off too. But because most balance transfers are like within I would say 10 months to 18 months. That's all the ones I've gotten. Most of mine have been a year to 18 months. So say for instance that $1,000, you transfer that $1,000 to a credit card that's taking it at 3%. Now you're talking $30 versus $200, and you're paying that $30 percentage up front, but you don't have to pay interest on that card until the promotion ends. So if your promotion is for a year, then you have a year to pay off that $1,000 with no interest. After that, after interest accrue, because they'll do, now you got to watch this part, is that interest accrues. So if you don't pay that $1,000 within a month or within that time, then there's a rate of, I think it's 24 to 28% that you have to pay on top of that. So just stay on, and that's why I mentioned with the cards that I had in February and March, I just so happen to have two cards that both interest rate or both balance transfers were ending in February and March. So that's why I delayed my mortgage and paid those cards off, so I wouldn't have to pay any additional accruement of interest on those cards. So you just got to be conscious of balancing your debt, right? I mean, we don't want debt, but if you don't have it.
Now, the technical term for that, and businesses do this all the time, is managing your debt, right? It's managing your debt, and that it's okay to refinance debt. The country does it all the time, right? Yeah. So being mindful of your debt, being mindful of those dates and stuff like that is called managing your dates, managing your debt. And managing the interest that you're paying on debt. All money saved is money earned.
Listen, and when you rather pay 3% than 20%, you got to. And sometimes I know for me, I'm compulsive in the sense I was like, well, I just want to get this debt out the way. But there's programs that are put here for you. Like say, for instance, with me forbearing my mortgage, I forbeared my mortgage so I can pay off the other two credit cards that I had all of my credit cards transferred to, because I had all of my debt transferred to two different cards on 3% instead of having to pay them 20 to 30% of interest. And I paid them all off, in February and March. So then now take advantage of, say for instance, with your mortgage. I mean, I wanted to get caught up on my mortgage within 4 months. But I was like, well, if I do that, then I'm still going to have this other debt looming on these cards. Because it's not like I'm not spending money. So I'm still going to have to, spend money for, bills and stuff like that. So they give you 6 months, take the 6 months. And because I had it set at 4, I was like, well, no, let me set it to 6 so I can pay more.
Give yourself more of the buffer time. Yeah, give yourself more of the buffer time. But where did you learn this at, Shante? This is the question I get asked all the time.
In these streets, bro. Like, and it's sad because I would have loved to, like, my pops. I talk to my pops every now and then. Or even my mom is, not to say that she's terrible with debt, but because she taught me the work ethic, right? So she taught me how to get money and how to figure out how to get more money, but she didn't teach me the managing part of it, so having a credit card, I was like, ooh, extra money, credit card, let me let me let me buy some Jordans or something like that, versus like, okay, no, whatever you're using your credit cards for, make sure you're, at least if you're using them, that you're paying them off within that month's time, so you don't incur any interest on them. I mean, we gotta be cautious of paying, of paying, like say for instance, $1,000 and you have 20% interest. If you spend, say the Jordans cost $200, now you're down to 800. Now you're paying interest on that 200 that you spent if you don't pay that off. So it's just, so now you're paying 40 extra dollars, or 220%. You're paying an extra $40 for those Jordans, even though it felt like you only spent $20. So now you owe $1,040 on a credit card that, or you owe extra $240 versus the $200 that you paid for the shoes.
Yeah, so it's a game that they're trying to put you in debt forever, right? Mm-hmm. And so like being in debt is how you don't live your best life. You be in debt so much, you over leverage yourself to where you gotta work and you gotta keep working, right? And let's go back to the point that I appreciate you making is understanding that credit card money. I had to learn this the hard way. I got bumped on my head, right? But
we all did. I got bumped on my head. Listen, it wasn't like Uncle Joy was like, "Hey man, don't do this or don't do that." I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Uncle Joy, he was a good person and all of that stuff. But at the same time, these are things that we don't know. We don't.
They didn't know. They don't know. They sucked at getting to the details because they were so worried about, like I said, life as it's happening right now, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say that people get sucked into this, like, dang, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I don't. Yeah, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I don't have enough, and everything that I get is going out. So, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? And like, it's very difficult for, like, it was. So when I got my first credit card when I was in college, like they was like, "Yo, fill out this out." Citibank, I think, gave me my first $500
for a T-shirt too. It was probably one of like I was so in awe by getting a free T-shirt. Like I had a free T-shirt, and what's crazy is the free T-shirt was literally me advertising them. It wasn't like a Wu-Tang T-shirt and nothing like that.
Yeah. Promotion on top of promotion, right?
A MasterCard or a Visa and shit. Like, and that just beyond me.
Yeah, and so I thought that this $500 was mine, and like it's my credit card, and I'm from the hood. So what I tell people from the hood, from corporate America all the time, they don't understand hood economics. That is my grandson who has a lot to say in the background.
Hey,
and
look,
I'm gonna throw him in there because a lot of this is built upon getting him this education that he needs to have too. But getting a credit card, thinking that this is my $500, and like not knowing what carrying the balances mean on your credit report, not understanding, hey, I need to push my limit up as much as I can, so I cannot, so I don't have, so my credit to issue rate is lower than what, so I can lower my credit usage rate, right? Mm-hmm. And so. But like I said, I didn't know this. And when I spent money on emergencies was, I need some tires. Tires are something that you should budget for. And like even back then it was like $400 just come out the blue. No, you kind of knew it, but understand.
Boys be balding. They say what the penny test and
it's a nickel, right? Yeah, the nickel test, right? So so like I got into this debt and I was like, yo, this is perpetual. And because I'm a math person, I was like, yo, this just keeps going and going and going. And so like, if I keep paying the minimum, now on your credit card, it'll tell you how long it'll take you if you pay the minimum. So I think paying the minimum back then, I was going to be paying for $500. I was going to be paying for like 20 years. And I was like, yo.
Listen. You know what? When I I remember when and where I was at when I got my first credit card. I was on MSU campus, and I applied for the card outside of Epley Hall, and they gave me a free T-shirt, and it was for $1,000. When I got that $1,000, the first thing I bought was 3 pairs of Wallabies from London. I didn't even need 3 pair, but I mean, I ordered them. I don't know if you remember.
What color?
I literally went to the store. I was like, oh shit. This is before they hit the US and everything. Like, I literally went to Sibley's and I was like, oh, you can order them? Like, yeah, order 3 of them. And then, you know, my mom, like, this is one thing I do respect about my mom. My mom's like, you did what? You know, and she didn't even necessarily, maybe I just talked too much, but she didn't have access to the credit card, because, you know, at that point in time, you're considered an adult, so you can apply for whatever you want. So, but I literally, she was like, take them back. So then I took 2 of them back and kept 1 or whatever. And then they came out in the US later, the next year, and they was like $60 cheaper.
And see, that's wild, because I know my auntie will buy up some stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My auntie will have.
Still do to this day.
Auntie, she will have she have a closet full of toilet paper. You'd be like, yo, where? Or she is notorious.
Yeah. No, I was talking to her the other day about that, because, you know, and not to change the conversation, but, you know, like I go back and clean up the house, and it's, you know, it's brand new stuff all over the place. And I was like, Mom, why do you need 6 Keurigs? You know, it's like, oh, I bought these for you. And this is the part of the financial part that I'm a reeler back to, is that we were taught to to buy enough so we didn't have to worry about if we're going to run out or not. Whereas, like, for me now, I mean, I would rather have the liquid available rather than the product, right? So if something happens or I have an issue, I mean, I had, like, say, you say tires. Nigga, I just had to buy tires. It was like 2 weeks ago, and come to find, I had to buy three new tires.
Wait, 3 on the 4 tire on the 4 cross. Yeah. Like, what?
Right. So and they were like, well, because I have Firestone tires, right? So, like, Firestone, they was like, well, this is, you know, we couldn't repair this, we can't repair this. This other tire is still under warranty. So I had to buy 3, and 1 was automatically replaced. But they charged me $800. But I didn't know I was going to have to pay. I just had a blowout, and I didn't know $800 was going to have to happen that day. You know what I'm saying? So I had to bust down $800. You know, luckily I do have a Firestone card, and they give you 6 months to pay it off. But, you know, my mom will fill up her Firestone card, and I'm saying, for me, I have it available just in case if anything happens, you know, because, like I said, I mean,
but the mindset is different, though, because your mom is saying we got limited resources. We don't know. Because think about this, y'all. Like, and I'm going to go back into Black history a little bit, because if you ever had something, they found a way to take it. Like, I don't know if you checked out Sinners, but, like, Sinners, one of the stories was about a musician who had earned some money to make a difference. And when he made the money to make a difference, he got pulled over by the police. The police seen it. The I don't want to tell the movie, but the police.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go check it out one of these like this week. Yeah, so no, I mean, tell the scenario. I mean, it ain't gonna change it up for me if I'm gonna go see it.
So one of the guys that Slim talked about, he said, you know, they made some money as musicians, and he was gonna go to Kansas City and start a church. Well, he made a mistake of pulling all his money out at the same time to pay for the train ticket, and the conductor saw him. And when the conductor saw him, he told the police, and they made up some money about him, made up some story about him robbing a white man and raping his wife, right? And so they hung him right there and took his money and everything, right?
It sounds like life, but the dramatic version. Like when they got robbed of their liquor and their money, and then
exactly. So
that's a sad story, by the way, because they was in prison for 40 fucking years. You know, like, it's a funny movie. I love the movie, but, like, it's really dark if you really pay attention to what's going on in that movie. So
yeah, and so, like, you have stuff, and then, like, they'll find a way to take it away. That's why another reason why Black people never like kept money in banks, right? Because You know, like that's how they get you. Like you're expendable. So you work this hard. And so if I got product, then I can always flip the product if I need to, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand the mindset. Now things has changed, and like you, like my mom tell me, you like doing stuff with white men, like you put money in the market and stuff like that. And I said, well, Mom,
what's wrong with that?
So,
literally, what's wrong with that though? I mean, I think sometimes, and I don't want to interrupt you. I think sometimes us as people, we separate ourselves based off of I want to say status all the time, but we separate ourselves based off like we think, oh, you think you better than me type of like. I'll give you a prime example with my mom, right? My mom would she'll say the phrase that I'm pretty sure most Black people have heard is "you think you rich," and it's like, well, no, I'm doing this to do something better. Like I don't always need the hookup. Like I mean, I would love to have the hookup, but I'm not going to wait for the hookup to be able to do the things I want to do, right? So, I mean, you're looking at investments, and I mean, I don't want to speak for you and all that stuff, but you're looking at potential investments and things like that. Like, well, if I do this, this is what can come of this. You know, it's not a risky gamble, you know, versus, you know, buying a lottery ticket. I mean, buying a lottery ticket every day for $2 for 365 days, you're talking $730, you know, like, so $730, 10 years, you done spent 7,300, you know, like when you start to do the math and you still don't win, like you might, you know, mess around and win like $30 here and there, but look at the investment that you put into it to win. Like you'd rather risk your chance. I mean, you'd rather look at the opportunity of winning free money, you know, than actually investing in something that makes sense.
So I'm gonna just give you the background on it because she feels like, you know, like people when people don't understand stuff, is, you know, it kind of pulls them back, and they're like, yo, I don't know if I believe in that. And like, so cash is king, right? And understanding that the money in the mattress is always going to be there, right? And even if I told her that the money in the mattress loses value every day, so if you're going to do something, put in the high yield savings, and she like, well, if it's not in my possession, do I really have it? Right?
That's crazy. I understand. You could literally just put it in the savings account, and when you need it, pull it, and then go from there. Like,
but that's because we was born in the time where we can see it transparently, right? Think about the time where when they was in banks and it was only, you know, a half an hour or something, right? I mean, only 30 days. I said half an hour, 30 days where they would get their statement. And then is that statement really real? And then you think about how that money used to move back then and how slow it did. So, you know, I understand their concern, but I do understand that we now that we have all these tools and where we can see it, it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, you got to have some faith in something, right? Like, I would rather, I mean, like I said, I mean, maybe different times, but it's just like, how do you, don't get me wrong, I like money in hand is better than anything, but I know for me, at least personally, I'm going to, like, if I have, say for instance, I have $200 in my pocket, that $200 probably won't be in my pocket within a week, or it'll be less than when it started, right? Like, I just automatically going to, like, that's why I don't carry, like, my way of managing my money is having it in a banking account. I won't really do checking because I think checking is kind of, I pay all my bills through my checking account, but there's no real gain in having money in a checking account because you're not gaining no real interest on it. So I'll pull all my money to the savings account, and then if I need money to pay the bills from the checking account, I move it from my savings to my checking because you're gaining interest daily on your savings, you know. So it's just like, well, and you're at, I think the percentage maybe around like 3.9 now. I mean, at one point in time, it was at 5, which was great. I was seeing direct impact to my savings, but now 3.9 is a little bit lower. But all that being said, I would rather know that my money's growing somehow, you know, versus just having it in, you know, under my mattress or in my pocket. Because I
that's
know
a
I'm
good point. That's a good point, because like what like what I've learned in life is that and what I learned through this whole adulting thing, right, is that what you just said is king, right? When your money is sitting and it's not working for you. We live in a capitalistic society, right? I trade my time for work. I mean, I'll trade my time for money a lot of times, and that in itself is how like I thought it worked. Right? I remember I thought I was doing something. I was an entrepreneur selling candy in high school. Right? I made some decent money.
I love that shit. That's literally a part of my entrepreneurship. Like growing, like I looked at you as the role model of getting money. Like you figured out how to get money. I mean, we've all, have our ways of, like, I mean, from cutting grass, raking leaves, even me with a paper route and stuff like that. Like we knew we had to make money somehow because wasn't nobody go give it to us.
Right. Now when I said I thought that was pretty decent, but I basically created myself another job, right? I traded my time for money again, right? I want, if there's anything anybody get from this, is understand that when you trading time for money, you basically working, right?
Yeah.
So if I was a true boss back in those days, I would have built a distribution center and had multiple people selling candy for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would have like doing the DJ and stuff.
If you had,
you know what I'm saying? So like,
if you had a whole system in high school. I mean, that's, like I said, that's the learning thing. But think about it like this: you go to Sam's Club, you grab the box for like $23 or something like that. Then you sell it to the people that. You sell it to the people that's doing. You're like, okay, I'm gonna give it to y'all for 25 or 30, and then they sell it. They make their money off of it, but then you got your whole distribution enterprise of you still make it like you. It's the other way of not selling drugs, right?
Right. Drugs sell themselves. You really selling logistics when you're selling drugs, and that's what I want to tell everybody who's listened to this and who's been a drug dealer. You don't have to sell drugs. People want drugs. You just getting it there at the best price, right? So again, I where I'm at now is I'm like, I need to scale stuff and not. I need to scale stuff and not be working for my money, put my money to work. What you did with your savings account is you put your money to work. While you're not working, your money is making some money. And so it's very hard in my community because, like, I'm going to tell you like this. I don't know how many people could do what I'm doing right now. I haven't worked. I do have some other streams of income, but they're not. I was working 2 jobs, making good money on both jobs. And so, like, what I'm doing now is not replacing what the money that I had. But when you have savings and when you have investments, and this is what happens, you get, because there was times before I've been off work for 3 or 4 months, 5 months. So I have 6 months of bill money. And then with that 6 months of bill money, like I didn't just let it sit in a savings account. I put it in a high yield and savings account, or I put it in the market. And I did good in the market where I was able to come back. Now I paid taxes on it because I'm using some of it right now. But again, like, know what your budget is, know it, like, and then add that in to your budget. When I say add that in, I want people to add, hey, these are my costs. Let's just say 15% of my total income in a month, right? If I can save 15%, now saving 15%, and I talk to my boy Kente about this stuff all the time because we constantly looking at ways to refine money. I bought stolen from my house, right? And I know people's like, yo, you won't get your money back for 10 years. Well, I got my money back in 4.5, almost 5 years, right? Now I got solar on the top of my roof, and it's paying for it. It's discounted. I'm a producer, and it's paying some of my electric bill.
And that's dope. Like, people don't pay attention to, like, people. You mentioned this before. People pay attention to now, and they don't pay attention to the future. Like, people were like, my mommy, like, I was being asked, like, why am I paying extra on my mortgage? And I did some research and stuff like that when I first got the house. And one of the things I had noticed, I was talking to somebody, and they were saying, well, if you, like, your first 12 months of your mortgage, if you pay 10%, or if you pay a total, well, it'll be, I think around 8 or 9%. But if you pay 8 or 9% more, or a total of one payment, say for instance, my mortgage is $2,400. If I pay, was it 12 divided by 24? So that'd be, if I pay an extra $200 a month for my mortgage for 12 months, that cuts my mortgage down from a 30-year to a 22-year. Because all you're paying is the interest up front, right? So if I can pay more on the principal, then that's going to cut my interest down more, and then it'll cut down my mortgage, and that's within a year. So can you, so it's little things like that we have to be aware of and conscious that, okay, how do you, I mean, that 200 might have hurt me, not to say hurt me, but it may have made, I might not have, used, I might have, well, I probably would have used it for something else, right? But I used it for that to cut down on 8 years.
Right. And then let's take the cake of it. And this is what I tell people all the time. Stop being a minimum ass nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay for that to be your bill, but to get rid of a bill faster, like that's the way. Like, why not? I pay more on my. I pay more on my. Like I said, I'm trying to get my principal down. So I pay more on my. I pay more, and even if you're only paying $50 more, just think of the savings overall, because, like, it's. I don't understand if people understand what compoundable interest means. That means every month. Well, every day on your mortgage, they are charging what you the percentage times what you owe. And so compound interest means that the less that you owe, the less interest that you're going to pay. And most times when you get a mortgage, the first 10 years is just interest.
Yep.
And so you get these people that want you to refinance, and the 2 years and 4 years after that, just think you're never going to pay off your house, and then again you're in debt for forever. And like, this is the opportunity. This, like, you also have to do some work. And like, this is one thing that I want everybody to understand. Don't take anything that I'm saying as fact. Look it up yourself and be knowledgeable about yourself, and then come back with some facts that I may not know. Right? Stop taking these people from TikTok and say, hey, because my son would call me and be like, Dad.
I get hit all the time. Like, hey, somebody asked me my Cash App yesterday. I was like, what? Like, what do you need that for? Like, he stopped talking to me. Then somebody be like, hey, look, you want to earn some extra money? But like, no, I don't want to earn no extra money from you. Like, I'm sorry. If you're just pinging me on Facebook and like, you're not, I mean, I get, like, some people may be legit, but I haven't seen any legit ones yet. So
yeah, it's all a hustle. And so, like, stop taking this stuff and they give them free money for businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's giving businesses free money. Like, you can get a grant, but it's going to be some work that you're going to have to put in for your business, right? So when it gets out, when the information gets out to the masses like that, and people are saying, oh yeah, Bank of America has this program, like, do your due diligence. Call Bank of America itself and say, hey, look, y'all got down payment assistance? Right? And then work your way out. Stop listening to these TikTokers tell you ideas that they never did themselves. Oh, I'm doing drop shipping. What's drop shipping to you? Right? Oh, well, I basically, you selling their stuff, right? So like, if you selling their stuff and you don't even got to see the product, how are you guaranteeing that the product is your quality?
Look, I hate to say this, but I haven't seen, and don't get me wrong, I mean, I give financial advice from based off of my circumstances and what I had to deal with, just because I didn't have anybody to do that for me. But I'll say that for most who I get hit up from the most, they usually want me to do something that's going to benefit them rather than benefit me. And that's just, like, not to say that they're leeches or anything like that, but I mean, that's the bottom line. They are literally trying to get you to, it's almost a pyramid scheme, idea. It's like, well, if you do this, then I sign you on, then And then the hard part for a lot of us, and I would say for me, is it's like going to the casino, right? Like say when you go to the casino, you lose $100. So now your whole goal is to get your $100 back. So you end up losing $300 trying to get your $100 back. Now you're $400 in debt. So now you're like, well, shoot, how do I get that $400 back? So then you go to casino, you win $200. You're like, okay, I won $200, but you're still $200 in debt. But you're still trying to fight to get your money back. So now it's almost like I'm old. I need to get my money back. So now you done built up a casino addiction, like, and it's just weird to me. Like, and this is how I feel about people that come to me and say, hey, why don't you, do this? And I'm like, well, I need to understand, like, what are the benefits? Like, when I need to know what return I will get on it. I don't need to know I don't want any risk. Now, don't get me wrong. Everything could be a risk, but there are low level risks versus like high level risk. And I'm not looking to, don't get me wrong. I would love to invest $100 and get $5,000 back, but that's just not logical. Like, like it's just not
that rarely happens. And in that case, somebody and understand something. This is an equation that we balance in. Whenever you got gains, somebody is losing.
Yeah.
So so the casino,
that's a bar right there. like, that's essentially what that is, a bar.
Yeah, but again, I'm just gonna reiterate on what you're saying, because like it's very important to know what you're getting yourself into. And my grandmother always used to say this: everybody's selling something, right? Mm-hmm. So on this podcast, I'm trying to sell the knowledge that she gave me as being a businesswoman and being somebody to say, hey, look, if you can't find a job, make a job. That's the stuff that she gave me. And like the teachers are selling education, because hey, if you they student and you do good, then guess what they say? I taught him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is her true saying. Everybody's selling something. It's on you to figure out if it's a deal for you or just a deal for them, right?
Now look at this. I saw a stat. It said that, this goes back to the casino thing. And this, you had mentioned earlier that because I'm definitely a numbers person. So when I see a stat, like they say, well, 13% of the people that go into the casino win. So if I'm just a regular dude going to the casino, there's a high chance, 87% chance that I am not going to win. So, and some people go into the casino as an example to get bill money and stuff like that and put themselves in debt. And it's not even just with the casino, it's like investments in general. It's like, understand what you're investing in. Invest in yourself. I think that's like number one. Like a lot of people, whether it's education, whether it's learning a new trade, whether it's, to work on your own and building a business. Because a lot of people think that, oh, well, I do hair, so now it's a business. Like, no, like, look at how you can monetize, even if like, you don't necessarily have to have a shop or anything like that, but just say, hey, look, well, if I'm doing one head a day, and how could I get that to 3 heads a day? Like, well, shoot, do I do social media advertising? Do I do this? Do I, pay somebody to, because the problem is sometimes we try to wear too many hats, and it's like, well, no, I'd rather pay somebody to make me look better than me trying to struggle to figure out how to make myself look better. Now, I will struggle to make myself look better, but at the same time, I want to have it working for me at the same time to be able to get business going.
There's some trade-off. You can't do everything at all once and be good at everything, right? But but to your point, these young people, like I do not have it in me to be a popular person on social media. I don't have it in me to say I want to find all the videos. That is not my lane, right? So like, but when I see these young people out here and they doing their thing and they promoting themselves and they get money from these other businesses, and then like I'll be like, yo, I pay them to promote my stuff. Like I know I pay them directly versus Facebook to say, hey, look, or whatever.
They hit them up like, hey, look, cut out the middleman. How much? Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, but so like to bring this back full 360, like I got my grandson with me, right? And now as a grand oh shoot, hold on 1 second, I'm losing my earpiece. Now as a granddad, I never understood. I didn't have my granddad, so I don't know what that seems like.
Me neither. I don't even know what that looked like.
Yeah, exactly right. I was like, dang, he died before he was born. Oh,
yeah. Shoot, my granddad died with my mom. I think she said she was no older than 10.
Yeah, because I think dad was 6 or whatever, right? Yeah, but I say this to say that like when you're looking at your budget, you're looking at the 100%. Like try your best to make it so the next generation don't have to struggle. Yep. And I say that to say like my grandson, I started I got 3 grandkids. So I started putting I think it's like $15. I started off with $500 each. So that was $1,500 all together. And now I'm putting at least $5 a month into their accounts. That's growing. So when they turn 18, I'm trying to get their parents to match me too, right? And I'm not talking big money.
You're not even talking nothing crazy. Like
yeah. I'm not talking $30 a month, $15 for insurance a month or whatever. Like
honestly, man, like $30 a month, we spend money on I was doing something yesterday and I spent I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh, they got those shoes on sale. And I tell my boy this all the time. He lives in Detroit, my boy Lawrence. I was like, man, every time I'm talking to you on the phone, man, I be buying shoes and shit. but I'm saying that as in like, I was like, but they were on sale. They were like $90 versus like $130. I'm saying all that to say that we spend more on that than on tangible items versus like putting money into a bank account to say, okay, I'm gonna put $30. Hey, I'm gonna put $50 because I'm at a point now. I was like, well, no, just if you can put $30 or like $5 a day, it'll sound like a lot, but $5 a day won't. I don't think it'll break anybody to be able to try to save that, which equates to about $35 a week. $140 a month. You put $140 a month up just for savings. I'm not. I know you said you're doing it for your grandkids and things of that nature, but telling them, hey, match that. Like do that $15 a month. Now you're talking from both parents. You're talking $45 a month over. That's $450, like $480 a year. Or no, $465. Yeah, $480 a year. Yeah. For 10 years. You're talking like $5,000. Or it said $480 a year, 10 years. Yeah, like almost $5,000 of $15 a month.
Yeah, and compound interest works both ways, right?
And you got the interest too on top.
Yeah, of it. So the money that they're making, and like I invest in their accounts, is stuff that like Coca-Cola, Disney, like I'm investing in that, so it can hopefully do better than the savings. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I say that to say, so when they turn 18, they'll have options. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll have options. And not to say what else I have or what else I can give to the future, but you have to look at your budget and have to give you the room, and you might have to sacrifice a little bit. And I think that's the hardest part to ask people when they already feel like they're sacrificing. But like really look at wants and needs and just say, hey, look, at one point we all gotta have
be within the budget, plan your spending. Yeah. I mean, it's really, is that, we already know what we're going to have to pay for bills, right? Like your bills don't really change, right? So, except for Georgia Power be on some bullshit down here in Atlanta. But anyway,
that's why I went solar.
Bro, listen, shit, my bill last month was like $400, and it's just me. So I couldn't even imagine having kids or anybody running around, and all I do is literally podcast, work, and watch TV at night. Like it's not even, I'm not even running. I don't even like. I'll practice DJing from time to time at the crib, but it's not like I'm even pulling a large source of power in my house. And you're talking $400, so I can't even imagine. Being in the having people within the house using my motherfucking energy. Now I'm up to $600 or $700. But all that being said, it's like understanding, like, I mean, you can have the nicer things, but just have them when it makes sense. I mean, I told you I have this bill that I got to clear $6,000 for this for a flooding that I had in my house, right? So if I end up spending towards something else, it's going to take away from me paying for that $6,000, which essentially is going to end up costing me $2,100 of interest.
In the long run, right?
Yeah. So like, no, shit, nigga, not even in the long run. Like January,
in the near term, right?
Right. So it's just like logistically knowing, like I write out all my stuff, like, and it's an old school way of doing it. And I could probably do a spreadsheet, but I write it all out. And mind you, I just started the company I'm with now, like 2 months ago. So me adjusting now, I only get paid once a month. So I'm used to getting paid twice a month and having all these auto pays and stuff like that, set up. So, these past 2 months has been kind of difficult for me because I'm not used to bills coming. Well, I'm not saying I'm not used to the bills coming in the middle of the month, but I'm not used to only receiving one check a month. So
yeah, it's a cash flow thing, right? So like that's what I tell people. Like it's a cash flow. You have to adjust your cash flow of what you're spending. But like my grandma also taught me, she's like, you should be able to pay all your bills in 2 checks, right? And that she used to get paid every week. So a half a month, you should be like, I try to budget my bills to be half of what I'm making.
That's an amazing way of thinking about it. That's a dope way to think about it. Cause I mean, I know for me, and that's the thing, that's why I say, like, it's even making a good salary, it's still difficult. I mean, not to say that it can't be done, but planning and making sure that, okay, well, if I'm going to spend, because I buy sneakers all the time, right? So like if I'm going to spend on these sneakers, then okay, you only go do, I don't know, $1,000 this month, or I'm only gonna do 500 this month, or I'm only go buy one pair this month, or I'm only go, just understanding that, okay, well, May, hey bro, you got to calm down because you didn't.
Again, I know people that make 6 figures and that spend 6 figures plus. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, and it's not what you keep, is what you can produce, right? And I'm gonna just say that because like you hear it all the time, right? Mm-hmm. If you make $100,000 but you spend $110,000, you're still in the hole. Listen. And then like you take me in your situation, you wasn't working, you make good money. And everybody think when you make good money, like I got 2 car notes. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But it's the car I wanted. And like having 2 car notes and a mortgage, and people like, yo, like, and I can tell you,
but they don't understand that. They don't understand
my bills in 2 weeks, right? So like,
but they don't understand. They'll just look at the number that you make and be like, oh no, but you made this. It's like, well, no, that's not the case. I still have to budget and make sure that my spending is in line, or I am going to be a crackhead on the street and not being able to make it.
Like, hey, America is built for you to overspend and you to be in debt. And being in debt is like slavery, right? Because like that's what sharecropping was, right? You couldn't get out of it, like, because you're like, yo, I can't make enough to get out of it. I make just enough to barely make it. So I implore people to get your financial freedom by earning your financial degree, right? And the first financial degree in my life was understanding what my finance means and grade it. So like my budget, like I said, my budget is kind of soft. My budget is kind of soft. I know about what I'm spending and I stay within those parameters, right? Now, I went to this conference 2 weeks ago, and it is amazing that you can go in Google Docs ask Gemini to set up a budget for a person making $80,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it will do it for you, and then you just tweak the numbers, and then you can put the actual numbers. Like I just copy.
You just got to adhere to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but like the thing about a budget is knowing where you at in your budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the actuals, and sometimes it get depressing. Sometimes you be like, damn,
bro. I told you I had like $500 left after paying everything, like setting everything for auto pay for April 30th. Like literally,
but restaurant spending is supposed to be $400 a month, and it turned out to be like $820. You like
that's not even that. Now that's not even in the spending, but like these are literally paying every single bill and making sure that I'm in a good space to not get hit with any late fees or anything like that. Like that's just crazy, and I'm over six figures, and to be I don't think I'm in a bad position, but I'm in a position to survive and grow. But it's just I'm aware of what I have to make sure that I'm growing within that to not just be surviving. I don't want to just be surviving. I want to survive and grow within this. I want to make sure that I have money that I'm like, okay, well, at least I'm saving this. And then hell, you ask me to go out to eat, I'll be like, nah, I'm chilling, or shoot, I'm at the crib. Like you come over and get some chicken or some greens or something like that. But other than that, like I ain't doing that for 2 months. Like, but that gives me the financial freedom to be like, oh, well, if I want to take this trip, I can take it. I'll feel comfortable with putting it on my card rather than going out to eat 5 or 6 times. And then now I'm busting down like $300 or $400 just on that,
But
so
then, but Shante, I'm gonna just say, like, we elevating, right? So like, it is. I look at the winning ways and how Mr. Dr. Bus got his friends together, bought some property, leveraged that property, and made it into something bigger. Like we at that point in our careers now where we can leverage. Like I told Eddie, I said, Eddie, you got an MBA. Like I am leveraging I'm learning to leverage and to build. Like I got a startup company, right? So why wouldn't I put somebody who got an MBA on there? Why wouldn't I put Shante who got a engineering degree and like why wouldn't I put them on my board? So when you see it, you be like, dang, this dude knows some stuff. And I'm trying to LeBron James it to where I'm like, yo, we all from the same spot.
Listen, why do you think I'm doing a podcast? Why do you think I'm doing a podcast with you and Eddie? Right? It's like I'm working with the people that I know are legit and dope. Don't get me wrong. I mean, not to say that everybody can't be dope, but I'm looking at it from the standpoint, these are people that I know are smart and know how to get things done. Whether it's, like I said, I mean, I have my master's too. Like you have.
What you got your master's in?
I have an MBA.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you got an MBA too? Okay, yeah. I didn't know. I thought it was. Well,
it started out in music business, but then the music business crashed, and I pivoted and I changed it. Like I just had to take like an extra like semester or something like that, and it was straight. But man, yeah, that when the 2009 when the music business crashed, 2008, 2009.
The streaming became official.
Huh? Yeah,
streaming became official.
Look, and that's real life experiences when it's 15 people in the office and it goes down to just you in the office and you just kind of like an office manager at that point in time. Like it was directly impacted. I was like, okay, well, shoot, I gotta leverage this master's because it was a master's of arts management. I had to switch it over, but all that being said, it was like pivoting, like understanding the people that's dope around you. Be like, oh no, let's, like you said, like LeBron got, Maverick, Rich Paul, and all that stuff. He put them into positions of power to be dope. You know what I'm saying? And and it was frowned upon when he started it. It was like, well,
because why are you it was like how this dude gonna do that? How he an 18-year-old gonna put people in position? He's leveraging his stardom to leverage people to have a career in marketing and yeah. But
now looking at it from the standpoint, I remember Gilbert Arenas was talking, and Gilbert Arenas was saying how he was talking, I think it's a Vlad TV interview or whatever. He was saying how they asked him why did he fire, or Vlad asked him why did he fire his agent. He was like, well, I'm a max player. They can only give me the max. Why do I need to have this dude negotiate me the max if I'm gonna get the max anyway? No, I want 124 million. And so he's like, well, I don't need that was $4 million that he saved from doing that. But then he said that, he changed it a little bit where, he ended up taking less so they can sign some other players and stuff like that. But that was him negotiating on his own. It's like, well, you don't necessarily need, if you're that great of a player or that great of a person, you know what your value is. Go in there and ask for it. You don't need anybody to negotiate that for you. That's why even with contracts and stuff like that, I'm like, well, sometimes you go directly to the source. That's why I ended up, getting an LLC earlier this year. So I can do, contract to contract versus was it 1099 instead of just W-2. I was like, no,
and I will leverage that too. I will say,
I need that money to come directly to me.
hasn't been on. Sante has started multiple businesses. You've been a DJ. You started LLC. So these are all things that boost the resume of us collectively. Because when we start to when you talk about growth and expanding, like I said, I'm not trying to create a job where I'm trading my time for money. I got less time, right? Yeah. So now I am looking for. And each individual is different, right? So when you need to pull in more money and you need to educate yourself on we talked about value last time I was on the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. I'm pulling my value from the resources that I have. Mm-hmm. And that means that like I said, this is my cousin. I can call him and be like, hey, look, I need you on this board. You're my advisory. This is how many shares we're gonna get, but we're gonna get this money when we go public, right?
And it's not an issue. And not to interrupt you, but even on top of that, you say, hey, look, and it's coming from you. You say, well, I need you to invest this. Can you do this? Let me know. I'm more prone to say yes to you than somebody jumping in my Facebook message talking about, hey, you want to make some more money? And I have no problem with that. And my point that you're genuine.
My point is all value doesn't mean money, right? Mm-hmm. I'm collectively using your credentials as value, right? Mm-hmm. And then the fact that I know you and we make connections and I can see some of the stuff that you created, right? Mm-hmm. So when somebody is asking you for something, sometimes it's not you. Sometimes you don't even have to use. You pay for your credentials. You know what I'm saying?
So somebody did that same exact thing that you're mentioning to me earlier this year. They was like, well, it'd be great to have you listed on here as a project manager. We're going to put you on this project so I can get this project over the hump. And I'm like, okay, cool, do it. I don't care, but if I end up, being the project, because it was, when I was, looking for opportunity, I was like, no, go ahead and do it. And it was like putting together a group of people. And this is all from, just from the project management group, because I'm certified in PMP. But it was like, we're going to put you on there, and then we're going to try to get this project over the hump, for us to potentially get this city project, right? So it happens all the time. It's smart business, like a lot of a problem I have with people, and we will wrap up after this, but the problem I have with people is, and this is hard because, growing up in a smaller city, you only see certain things. So I would say that, even going to college and stuff like that, that exposed me to oh, you could DJ. Oh, you can live in New York. Oh, you can travel, blah, blah, blah. But, the most I had traveled in my whole life was to Mississippi, growing up, in elementary and stuff like that. So I wasn't fully exposed. I remember, it might have been senior, junior. No, I think it was senior year because I was in Texas, 11th grade. But, we went to Flint, for to go to check out catering and shit. It was just oh shit, we doing something big. We over here, blah, blah, blah. And seeing that part of it and what it's harder for some people that's not exposed to things, but just knowing that you can always do something bigger. And that's why I think the beautiful part about the internet is that, you can grow your business without having to do all of the legwork that we had to do back in the day. I remember we went to catering and I had to write a resume and I was like, shit, a resume, and I remember typing on like it might have been in Muskegon. I can't remember.
It was in my and like I got that printer out the garbage and like somebody had to do it and I was like, let me see if I can fix it. Because my mom she had made the investment in the computer and not knowing, I tell people this story all the time. My mom invested in a computer in the 80s and it didn't have Windows on there. And like, I remember her paying $5,000 for a computer. And I'm like, Ma, you don't have you're a broke person.
I was happy to have a Commodore 64 to play video games on. Like,
$5,000 might have been, that at the time, that was probably half of what she made a year. So like, and I'm like, yo, you can't invest this type of money and I don't learn. But like I said, when you come from nothing and you get an opportunity to make something, like it's a wonderful thing. And like, if anybody gets anything out of this podcast, I want you to understand that you can get a grip on your life and live the life that you want based on how healthy you want your finances to be.
Invest in yourself. A lot of people are afraid to do that. Like, it's just.
Well, ain't that all what college is? Investing in yourself?
Listen, I don't get like how people don't understand that. Like it's not. Granted, you can have fun, you can do all of these things, but the thing about it is like you level up, right? Like whether it's college, whether it's a certification, whether it's just trying to learn something different. Like always try to better yourself and don't be afraid to. Even if it's something as simple as health, it's like, well, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's like, well, what are you doing to lose the 10 pounds? Like, well, I don't want to cut nothing out. I'm going to keep eating this fried chicken and mashed potatoes and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, you have to consistently change and evolve to become better, whether it's finances, whether it's your health, whether it's relationships, etc. You have to learn how to better yourself on a regular basis rather than becoming complacent and just thinking like, oh, well, it's going to come to me. It's like the whole idea of insanity of if I do it the same way, I expect different changes. It's like, well, no, you're not going to get different changes. You're going to get the same results if you keep trying to do it the same way.
Yeah. So. Can't keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. So like, right. Yeah, exactly. You put in what you put out. And so like, and it can seem insurmountable. Like I look at the scale and I'm like, dang, I need to get on it. But you keep chopping away at it. You keep saying, hey, look, if it starts in baby steps.
Listen, I was stuck. Like when I was cutting weight, I would get stuck. I hit so many plateaus. I hit a plateau at I was at 255. I hit a plateau at 240. I'm like, damn, I could not get below 240. Then I finally cracked below 240 in like 6 weeks. But can you imagine all them got 42 days or 42 days of not being able to get below it? And I'm right at 240. I'm not talking about like I'm at 246 or 244. I'm talking about I'm at 240 and I can't get below that for 6 weeks. But you got to keep going and pushing towards, where you shoot. Like for 6 weeks, I was stuck at 190. I'm trying to get below 190. I'm talking about like now.
How much you weigh now, man?
I'm at 189.
Dog, like how much you trying to get to?
Probably like 185, 180.
Okay, I was about to say, dog, you can't. They're gonna be like Shantae sick.
But listen, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people are gonna have their opinions on you. If you're heavier, they're gonna have their opinions on you. If you're smaller,
I'm big boned, heavy structure.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's like you damn if you do, you damn if you don't. I'd rather you call me a crackhead than say, man, that nigga be eating. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
you're right.
And it's being comfortable with what you want. Like if you comfortable with look, you comfortable in your weight, blah blah blah. That's cool. But I'll have people hit me up and say, well, hey, what can I do? And I'll tell them, okay, here's a laid out plan for you to do. And they still won't adhere to it because it's hard. What I've learned in life in general is I have to be intentional about it. Like I don't people like I don't like working out. I don't like, I've been keto for 3.5 years. I actually don't mind keto. But in general, like I don't like the fact that people think that it's easy. Like nothing is easy. Like life is not easy. Like I know the
if
results.
it was easy, the caveman would do it, right?
Listen,
the caveman would still be around, right?
Look, I know the results that I want to see, and I get up in the morning and go to the gym. I don't want to go every single morning, but I know the results that I would get from going to the gym or going to the gym in the morning or going in the afternoon or eating lighter things just to make sure that I can maintain what I want to have. And like I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to have to deal with things such as, diabetes within our communities and stuff like that. Just any unhealthy, like things that they say, I mean, it could be wrong or right, but they say that, weight management has a large thing to do with diabetes. But, and honestly, I think Uncle Joey had diabetes. So, I don't.
See, the crazy part about it is he's the only one who didn't have diabetes. That's why I was like,
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
No, that's because like I know, like
Uncle Mark does.
Uncle Mark does.
Yeah,
but I know
I knew one of them did.
It's in our family, but like I was like, yeah. And when they told him his foot, I was like, yo, your sugar? He's like, no, I just got poor circulation issues. But again, you said something that was very important. You said you got to be comfortable with yourself, right? So what? I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you feel like made you get comfortable with your personal finances? Like, how were you able to get comfortable with your personal finance?
Trial and error, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And then, because like I said, I'm not going to say I do it the best, but at the same time, the practices that I do, the intentionality of, like I said, I haven't even gotten paid yet. Like I saw my statement came in my email to tell me, hey, this is what I'm going to get paid on April 30th. So I write out everything that I have to pay. And then I'm comfortable with saying yes and no to people at that point in time, because what happens is when you just leave, when you feel like, oh, well, I have this money in my bank account, I could do this, that, and the other. It's like you're going to start spending, but then you're not. So that means you're spending less on, at least for me, I'm spending less on what I would like to take care of. I'm huge on financial freedom. I don't want to owe nobody, for the rest of my life. Like, I had this house up for sale like 2 years ago, and I was like, well, shoot, if I can bank $115K that's like in my account, okay, I can throw that towards a bigger house, so I can do whatever I want to. But now I have $115K in the account. I'm always looking for ways to not owe people, because I just don't want to owe nobody. So as soon as if I borrow some money from somebody, I'm like, how can I make sure I get them that money back? And the only reason I think that is because I want to be able to go back to, if I need to borrow money from them again, I don't want to, borrow some money from Eddie and then I never pay him back. And then be like, well, Eddie, can I borrow some money again? I would expect him to say no or have a bit of reservation. And granted, I will say, hey, look, I can't get you this, da, 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 but I'll pay you blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I'm like, no, if I borrow some money from you,
those are stand-up people, though. At the same time,
yeah, and that's the part.
There's people that I basically paid them to leave me the F alone. For
right,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to. Oh no, I don't want nobody saying, oh man, that dude never paid me back. Blah blah blah. That's just psychologically how I think of it. Like even if I forget that I owe you, and I won't, but if I ever forget that I owe you, tell me, because a lot of it's funny. Sometimes asking people for money that they owe you feels almost as uncomfortable as them telling you that they go pay you back. It's like, well, hey, you said you was gonna pay me back on Friday, because I'm like I said, I'm a numbers person. I'm like dates very very oriented as far as or of planning, right? So if you tell me, hey, I'm gonna pay you on Friday, I'm on Friday like, yeah, I'm about to get that money, But if you tell me, hey, look, I'm not gonna have it on Friday, I'll get it to you on Tuesday, or I'll get it to you a month later, I'm okay with that too. But don't wait till Friday to tell me that. Like because you know ahead of time. You know that I'm like that with time too. Like and I'll make sure. And if we have to adjust things, I'm like, okay, well, are you good for this time? Are you good for this time? I'll make sure. So if it impedes anything or you have something, because life be lifing, right? So stuff happens. So if I quote unquote say, hey, going on like a date or something like that, and and use like it's 7:00 and you text me at 6:50, say, hey, I'm running late, I probably won't get there to 7:30 or 8. It's like, nigga, you knew you knew way ahead of time that you was like, you got to drive there, or you got to figure out like how you go. So.
The hard part about this is like you realize that your time is worth something, right? Mm-hmm. And so like I don't have time to waste. And so like a lot of times, you got I built a platform because people borrow money from me all the time. I built a platform that you go, and now I charge 10%. I'm only doing anything under $100. I charge 10%. You can't take out another loan while you got one open. If you late, it's a late fee on there. So
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so
we need to start a banking institution that credit union or something. That I like that.
Because it gets to like when people like you got, can I borrow $20? Can I borrow $10? Can I borrow this? And then people act like they forget. And like you said, like I know. And then it's like, well, how have you ever paid me back? Oh, it's all be on Cash App? Well, then add your Cash App up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I was like, yo, I'm done with that. So now I gotta put the part now where it'll notify you. Yeah, we can go to the park in just a minute. It'll notify you when the terms are supposed to be ended. So if you say, let me borrow $100 to let's say May 8th, right? And then like 4 days before May 8th, I'm gonna put it's in your notification, email or whatever, saying, hey, you got that $100 that's coming up. If the late fee is this, so I got to add that part to it. But it's actually got to the point where it funds itself now, so I'm not tripping.
Listen, bro, I had a dude that moved into my apartment. This is in college. Moved into my apartment. We owed our mortgage. Our rent was $410 a month. And he couldn't get on the lease because he technically wasn't in school. So he moved into my apartment because I had a 2-bedroom. Moved into my apartment, and the rent came up. And college, it ain't like like they want their money. Like like you pay it on the 1st, or you are getting evicted like damn near by the 5th.
Yeah,
so
they send you that notice on the 3rd.
Yeah. So like I told him, I was like, well, hey, I need to pay the rent, blah, blah, blah. So just if you can, not if you can, but have the $205 by the 1st so I can go pay him. He's like, oh man, cool, I got you. And this is like maybe a week or two before. So then like, right, it's like maybe a couple days before, and I'm like, hey, let me know when you can give me the money, blah, blah, blah. Day up, he was like, oh man, I ain't gonna have it. I was like, when you gonna have it? He's like, oh man, I have it hopefully by Friday. And I didn't like that word hopefully, but anyway, I'm like, all right, well, cool. So I hit him up on Friday because I paid it up front. And mind you, this is when I was starting to DJ. So I was starting to have a little bit of money, but I was like, well, shoot, if I have a roommate, I could save an extra $200 a month. But Friday come, I was like, hey, you got the rent? And he was like, man, I'm gonna give you the money when I give it to you.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, all right. We'll figure it out.
He ain't seen Menace Society, huh?
So that Friday, I went to the housing office, had them change all of the keys. Cause like it's a campus apartment one, like I could change the keys. I paid the extra money to have them. It was only like $30 or $40, but had them change the keys for the apartment so he couldn't get in. He got back late that night. He's like, hey man, this is fucked up. You ain't let me in, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, I told you I needed the money. He's like, well, I told you I'd get it to you. I was like, but from what you said earlier, it don't sound like I'm gonna get my money. I was like, if you want to grab your stuff, you're more than welcome. But other than that, like, it's a wrap. And that was it. Like that, like he came and got his stuff like the following week, and that like that was. I was like, I'm not going to put myself in. If I have to pay something on top of like on my own, I'm cool with that. Like I'll just eat that. Like I know what my expenses are, and this is where people like talk about renting houses and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't have the patience for people, So like. And he didn't give me the money. It was just fine. But I knew that for that month, like I'll just have to pay it myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's a you threw a phrase out there. It's two phrases. I don't really. I'll be like, oh, here we go. The one for the other. You just said one. Hopefully, and then I ain't even gonna lie. Every time I hear that, I just be like, yo.
Yep.
Here comes the nonsense.
Yep. And mind you, sometimes I would loan money, and I'm not like I wasn't even working in like January, but it's people that like I said, I mean, as long as somebody's very vocal with me on on me getting my money back, I ain't tripping. But just don't have me depending on that day, because I'm like, well, shoot, I look at it like, okay, I loaned you $300, or I could throw that towards the gas bill or the electric bill or something like that.
That's coming back in. Like I'm trying to count on my money. Like, yeah, go get it. Go get my phone. Yeah. I'm trying to.
Yeah. So cool. Well, thanks everybody for attending the Reality or Not podcast with Nothing New Under the Sun. Brian Clancy, love you to death, bro. We'll talk more. I think we hit one topic, so we definitely going to hit some more in more conversation soon. Thanks everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment on how you feel about the topic and what we can do better, or if you think that there's other ways that people can be better within their finances. But thank you all for attending. Talk to you soon.
If you got a tip or anything, drop it, because I'm interested. Because like I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know everything, but I do know what's working for me.
Listen, and not to start things back up, but understand, you just mentioned something that's so important. Knowing that you don't know everything. That was one thing I had to learn throughout life. It's like, well, it's okay to be wrong. Teach me how to be right. Learn from other people and be able to help other people benefit from that. So, cool. All right. Well, thanks
for having me, man.
Yep. No. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, I think this is a great. I like the way the conversation went last week, and I think that we could still build on top of that and go from there. So, no, I appreciate you.
All right. Love you too, man.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.